This video is all about using trigonometric functions. Now, this video is all about solving this particular question. They said the depth D of water in a harbour. T time after midnight is given by D equal to 10 plus 3 sine 30 T. The first question was find the depth of water at 4 a.m. and the next one was find the depth of water at 6:30 p.m. Then the B part of the question is at what time the depth is 7.6 meters. Now, all the calculations, all the angles and all that, all the trigonometric values we should use log tables. So now let's begin this particular question. So now the first question, the A part. Now let's write down the formula. You have D is equal to 10 plus 3 sine 30t. Now the I part of the question, they said at 4 a.m. Now, and you know this time is counting after midnight. Because after midnight the time start counting. So that means 4 a.m. implies that T is equal to 4 hours. So now what we're going to do next is to substituting T equal to 4 into equation. Let's say this is equation 1 into equation 1. So now we are now going to look for the depth at 4 a.m. So the depth at 4 a.m. will now be D is equal to 10 plus 3 sine 30 times 4. So we now have 10 plus 3 sine 120. Because 30 times 4 is 120. So now this angle 20 is more than 90 or less than 180. So it falls in the second quadrant. And in the second quadrant, sine is what's positive. Sine is positive. Now, and the reference angle here is 180 minus theta. So what is the angle that when you subtract from 180 to give you 120? That angle is 60. So you have 10 plus 3 sine 180 minus 60. This is 10 plus, since sine is positive, so it will be plus 3 sine 60. So we now have 10 plus 3 times. Now let's look at without looking at the log table, we can get our sine 60. Our sine 60, you have here to be 60, here is 1, here is 2, here is root 3. So sine 60 will now be using sine of an angle is equal to the opposite all over hypothesis. Now this is opposite to this angle, this is hypothesis, so you have root 3 all over 2. This implies to be 10 plus 3 root 3 all over 2. This will now give us 10 plus 2.598. which is equal to, which is equal to 12. Which is equal to 12.59 volts. Approximately, this is approximately. So it will now be approximately 12.6 meters. The next question is the I part of the question. So now let's should be at the time when it is 6:30 p.m. So since 13 p.m. after midnight will not be, so 6:30 p.m. already means now converting it to 24 hours time mode, you now add 12 to this. So 6.30 plus 12. You now have 30 minutes, 18.30. Now, and this 30 minutes is the same thing as, 30 minutes. So this 30 minutes is the same thing as, you want to change it to hour, you say times, 1 hour you divide by 60 minutes. So 1 hour is equivalent to 60 minutes. So 1 hour over 60 minutes. This will cancel. You have 1/2 hours. That means roughly 0.5 hours. So add that to this, you have 18.5 hours. So the time will now be 18.5 hours. So that is what we're working with now. Now that means the depth now will now be 10 plus 3 sine 30 times 18.5. This will give us 10 plus 3 sine the 18. That will give us roughly that will give us roughly 5, 5, 5. Let me see, 18.5 times 30. So taking off this 0, move this, you have 18.5 times 3. So this will be 5, 5, 5. So correct. So now this 555, if you knock off, now for us to do this, now at the point where this angle is, we need to now remove one revolution to be able to know where this angle will be. So to remove one revolution is 360. So you say 555 minus 360. You have 5, 5. This is 9 and this is 1. So because the 360 and 0 is just the same thing. So it's just the same. So if you remove 360 from an angle, the angle still remains. It's just like you're removing 0 from that same angle. Because 0 and 360 is just something. So you just, let's say, for instance, you are at a point. Let's say the angle is at this point. If you move like this and come back to this place, That is, you have moved 360, you still come back to that same place. So if, let's say we remove, if you remove, let's say the thing is here now, if you remove one 360, it will still come back to that same point. So that means we can now write this to be 10 plus 3 sine 195. And sine 195, you see, when you look at this 195, let me look at the quadrant again. The 195 is more than 180, but less than 270. So it falls on the third quadrant. And on the third quadrant, so this is the reference angle for this. You have 180 plus theta. Now, what is the angle that you add to 180 to give you 195? Is 15. Now, and since it's 15, then here is theta. Then that means a sine is negative. So you now have 10 plus 3 sine 180 plus 15. So this is the same thing as saying 10 minus, since sine is negative at the third quadrant, so you have minus 3 sine 15. Now, because sine 195 is not on the table, it's not on the log table, so we need to bring it down to what the angle that is on the table. So that is why we get down to this. So now you have now 10 minus 3 sine 15, because at the third quadrant, at the third quadrant, sine is a negative value. So that is how we got this. So now I have 10 minus, now 3 times, let me see, let's look at the table now. Let's look at the table. This is sine. Now sine 15, you have 0.2588. 0.2588. So we have 0.2588. This is equal to, now if you multiply this, so we have 10 minus, this time this will give you 0.7765. So this is equal to 9.22. This is approximately, this will not be approximate, because this is not, this is from table anyway. So you have 9.22 meters. So roughly 9.2 meters. So that means we have D equal to 9.2 meters at 6:30 p.m. Now that is that. So now let's now look into the B part of the question. The B part of the question was that at what time the depth is 7.6. So the B part of the question. So now they gave us the depth B. They gave us the depth D, sorry, D, which is equal to 7.6. Now the equation for D is equal to 10 plus 3 sine 30t. Now substituting this value, since D is equal to 7.6, then we put it here. 7.6 is equal to 10 plus 3 sine 30t. If you move this 10 to this other side, you now have 3 sine 30t equal to 7.6 minus 10. So 7.6 minus 10 will give you minus 2.4. Now dividing, now you have 3 sine 30t is equal to minus 2.4. dividing both sides by 3, we now have sine 30t equal to, this will cancel out. This will now give you minus 0.8. So now the inverse of sine, you now have 30t equal to arc sine minus 0.8, meaning that t, the time t will now be arc sine minus 0.8 divided by 30. Now, so the sign is negative here now, so we have a negative value here. That means at the coordinates where the signs are is negative, is you have the first one, which is at the third quadrant, the second one at the fourth quadrant. So at the third quadrant, you have this to be reference angle to be 180 plus theta. And then at the fourth quadrant, you have this to be 360 minus theta. So where here is theta? Here is theta for this one. So now let's start with the first one, the third quadrant. Now, so let's look for this angle first. So what we're going to let's look for, let me call it theta. Theta equal to arc sine 0.8. Arc sine 0.8. So now let's now go to the table. So on the table, we look for 0.8. Sine. Okay, we're on the sine table. Yeah, this is 0.7. Okay, this is okay, this 0.8 supposed to be here. Supposed to be here. So let me see. So here, this doesn't mean this. No. Yeah, we have this. At that point, you have 0.7997. So at this point where we have it, the angle is 53 degree 6 minutes. Now, the reason why we're using 6 minutes, because when you check the angle, the 0.8 falls between this column and this column, falls between these two columns. So had it been it falls here direct, we'll just take this value and 0.1. Just put in 0.1. So since it falls between these points, we now needed to look at the mean difference to see if the value we can add to this to give us 0.8. So now, if you look at the mean difference, is 3, you can add to that. So if you add 3 here, that is 0.000. This will give you 0.008. So that is it. So that means it's 2 minutes we're going to add. So this will now be 53 degree 8 minutes. So 53 degree 8 minutes. That is what we're going to add. So now let's go back. Let's go back to So that means the angle theta is 53 degree 8 minutes. So now this 8 minutes, sorry, the 8 minutes, you can change it to degree. You have 60 divided by 60 minutes times 1 degree. Now if you remove this 0, you now have 0.8 divided by 6. So 6, this is 0. Since divide 0 is 0, 8 is 1. Remainder 2 into 2, okay, 3, 3, 3, 3. So now so this implies that this is 53.13 degree. So it's 53.13 degree. So this now means since sine is negative at the third and fourth quadrant, now the first angle will now be 180 plus theta, which is 180 plus 53.13. This will roughly give us 3.13. This one will give a 3.2. So that is it. So now this is now the value of arc sine minus 0.8. One of the value of arc sine minus 0.8 is 233.13. Now that means the time, which is equal to arc sine minus 0.8 divided by 30, will now be 233.13 divided by what? 30. You now have, if you divide 30, so you have 7.771 hours. Now let's change this decimal hour to minutes. Now we'll now say if you have 0.771 hour is equal to 0.771 hours times 60 minutes divided by 1 hour. So this will give us 0.771 times 60 minutes, because this hour will cancel out this. So now you have let me see. So this will be 46.26 minutes, which is roughly 46 minutes. So the time this will happen will be, now the t will now be 7:46 a.m. So it will happen at 7:46 a.m. That's the first one. The second one, now the second time it will occur is at the fourth quadrant, and the fourth quadrant it will now be the arc sine minus 0.8 will be 360 minus theta, and it will be 360 minus what again, let me see, minus 53.13 minus 53.13. So this is equal to 306.87. It's equal to arc sine minus 0.8 divided by 30, which will now be 306.87 divided by 30. And this will give us what? 229. Now converting 229 hours. So now we now have 10 hours. We need to convert this decimal hour to minutes. So that means 0.229 hours is equivalent to 0.229 hours times 60 minutes divided by 1 hour. Because since 60 minutes is equivalent to 1 hour, so that you now have 0.229 times 60 minutes, because hours will cancel out. Now you now have 0.299 times 60.74 minutes, which is roughly 14 minutes. So this other, it will also happen at the time when t is equal to 10:14 a.m. So it will happen at 7:46 a.m. and 10:14 a.m. Then there's also another time when it will happen. Now, from what we have recorded so far, it means that arc sine minus 0.8 is equal to 233.13 or 306.87. So this is the two angles. This one is at the third quadrant. This is at the fourth quadrant. Now, there is also another set of angles that will still give us that same depth, which will now be, now, at this point, we have 7:46 a.m. Now this one will have 10:14 a.m. Now for this other one, the arc sine, where the arc sine is also minus 0.8, another set of values where the arc sine is minus 0.8, another angle will be adding 360 to this angle. So if you add 360, you have 233.13. If you add 360 to this value now, you have 13,395. Now this other one, if you add 360 to it, 360, you have 87. Well, yeah, that'll be 666. So that means the next set of time when this thing will still occur is the angle at which this depth will still occur is at 593.13 or at 666.87. Now let's look for the time when this two will occur. So time one is arc sine minus 0.8 divided by 30, which is the same thing as 593.13 divided by 30 or 666.87 divided by 30. So this will give us 771 hours, or this other one will not be 229. hours. So that means this 19, this one and this one are on 24-hour mode. So to change this from 24-hour mode to 12-hour mode, what we're going to do that, we will minus 12 hours. If you minus 12 hours, you have 7.771. And to convert, we have converted this before. This 0.77 hours to minutes. So this will give us 7:46 p.m. It will not be p.m. because at this we subtracted is at noon. So because after noon, it start counting from 1. But this one, the 24 hours method counts from. So it means, if it gets at noon, this method, this 12 hours method, it starts from after 12, it starts from 1. But this one continues. So that is why I had to subtract these 12 hours to get the exact point where this one will be. So it will be at 7:46 p.m. Then this other one, if you minus 12 hours from here, 12 hours, this will now be 10.229. So we have convert this before, which is 14 minutes. So this whole thing will now be 10:14 p.m. So this is it. This is the time when it will occur. So that means it will occur at the time when that depth will occur will now be T will now be at 7:46 a.m. at 10:14 a.m. at 7:46 p.m. and at 10:14 p.m. So that is the final answer. This is the end of this video. Thank you for watching till the end. Have a nice day.